Altemio Sanchez was called the bike path killer for a series of attacks over decades in western New York. Now he's trying to tell his story from behind prison walls. He sent a letter that went to News 4's George Rickert, who has tonight's special assignment.
It's been nearly 5 years since its capture, so I sent a letter to Clinton Correctional Facility in Dannemora, New York, asking Altemio Sanchez for an interview. He responded within a few days, saying that he has declined all interviews. But then he wrote this: "As for prison, we prisoners are considered scums of the earth. That's what the world calls us. That's the way people think. You see, Mr. Rickert, we are not perfect, not one. We all have a dark side hidden inside all of us. Don't you think so, Mr. Rickert? Don't we lie every chance we get, and when we do, we store it deep inside, which is our dark side?"
If you read this letter and your viewers look at it, I question, do all of us have a dark side in us? A dark side that leads to murder and rape of women over such a long period of time? Mr. Sanchez, this isn't true. These may be your words, but they don't reflect society.
State Police Captain Stephen Nigrelli and Erie County Sheriff's Captain Scott Petronic headed up the task force that finally caught the bike path killer after 25 years. He has been linked by DNA to nearly 20 rapes and 3 murders. 2 of the murders were on the same date, September 29th.
That's in the makeup of a serial murderer. They're ritualistic. They believe in anniversaries. They return to the scene of the crime.
But the anniversary of Joan Diver's death here on a Clarence bike path is something her husband tries not to observe. Her husband, Stephen Diver, tells me September 29th to him is a black, cold day. Over the years, it has been a challenge to prepare for the sorrow and sadness of this time of year. The loss of Joan is intensified in early fall, and it creates a strong sorrow. It begins when the sunlight changes to lower angle of incidence and lasts until the trees lose their fall colors.
I'm still very nervous about coming down here.
Mary Vishala used to run this path a few times a week, but has avoided it for 5 years now. Just a few weeks ago, she got up the courage to start biking it again.
I think of him every time I come down the path. I can't help but think about what he's done and Joan Diver's family.
It seems now, I think the families, for the most part, are trying not to think about it. They're trying not to just constantly relive what happened to their loved ones.
And even the killer seems unwilling to relive it. Why, Mr. Rickert, would anybody want to hear my story? There's too much pain and suffering on both sides. We need to move on with our lives. The pain will always be there. We need to grow stronger and stronger and have faith in God to lead us in a happier life, to live in peace and love with one another. Do you think he's sorry?
Not at all. Whatever gets him through the night in his cell is what he's saying here. It's his inner excuse for what he's done, and it's a cop-out.